In this video, we're going to take a look at the new Reference Points Manager inside of Command PE. To access the Reference Points Manager, simply go up to Missions plus Ref Points and click on Reference Points Manager. That will bring up a small dialog box that allows us to see every different type of zone that we have on the map. So in this case, let's take a look at a couple different applications for it. So first thing is, let's say I want to create a combat air patrol around my aircraft carrier group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a group of a few different reference points. I'm going to select those reference points. Then I'm going to go ahead and make them a fixed bearing to the aircraft carrier action group. Now you'll notice each one of these reference points is now listed inside of the Reference Points Manager. So this is going to give me a lot of powerful things. I can now do things like adding tags. For example, let's create a tag called carrier. I'll go ahead and create that one. And now if I want to, I can now link these tags to each one of these different items. So in this case, let's go ahead and say this particular one, I want to add this carrier tag to it, add. So now if I wanted to, I could go ahead and open them up and actually take a look at all of the different reference points that are in this specific group. And I can click them with a single button to go ahead and activate them. Now, the next thing we can do here is we can actually have the ability to go ahead and rename them. For example, if I want to click on this one right here and I wanted to say northeast corner, I now can go ahead and rename that directly from here. In this case, my northeast corner was unfortunately my northwest corner. So I'll go ahead and correct my little error real fast. And now we're in good shape. We can now make this one, which is a 437. We can call this an NE corner. We can come down here. Don't forget to press enter after you do each sort of change. Call corner, press the enter key. Let's call 438, which is the bottom corner here. We'll call this the SW corner. Don't forget to press enter. And we'll go ahead and call this one real quickly the SE corner. I'll fix my little mistake here as well while I'm at it. And now you can see how powerful and how easy it is when you have hundreds and hundreds of waypoints to quickly go ahead and select which one that you want to use and select and deselect them pretty much on the thing. You also have the ability to go ahead and jump to a specific waypoint. For example, if I want to see this one, I can click on it and it will snap my entire view directly to this particular waypoint. Click on this one, I can go ahead and jump to that one as well. I can also delete reference points should I need. In this particular case, I'm not going to delete any of them because it's going to make things a little complicated. The final thing we can do with this Reference Points Manager is we can create zones. Now, there are different types of zones in a given scenario depending on what the scenario was designed to do. But for this particular one, we're going to go ahead and use this zone as a way to go ahead and identify it as being our cap by giving it a unique color to everything around it. So I'm going to come to change RP color, and I'm actually going to select all of these points at once and change the color to something a little bit more appropriate. We'll go ahead and now make this orange. Now that it is all going to be orange, we notice that it is going to be flagged as orange in here, so it's going to be more obvious that it is linked to the carrier. Now in the case of my carrier tag here is unfortunately green, but that simply means it is selected, and now I'll be able to do it. Now what I'm going to do with this new group is I'm going to create a zone, go ahead and keep track of it. So I'm going to say add points currently highlighted on map, and I've gone ahead and established a new zone. What you'll notice now is there's this very, very, very fine gray item here. This is our actual active zone. Now, if we want to make this zone a little bit more clear for the purposes of visibility, we can actually come over here and give it a name. In this case, we'll call it cap area. And we'll go ahead and give the zone a color. If we do not give it a color other than black, it will actually appear on the map. So in this case, we're stuck with orange. I'll press orange. And now we'll define this entire area as being an orange zone. Go ahead and validate it quickly. And I noticed there was a validation error. The reason for this is our particular polygon actually crosses itself. So what I'm actually going to do is study here and make sure everything makes sense. Here's our mistake. Let's validate it again. And everything's looking good. And you can see now there is an orange highlighted zone on the map, which we can now see exactly for the purposes of this particular area. So let's go ahead and create another area just to demonstrate this. Now we know that our hostiles have set up some kind of a SAM site, and we want to go ahead and flag that as a zone so we can identify it. So we'll go ahead and define this as an area as well. Go ahead and define area rectangle. Select the area in which it's going to be, and keep in mind we can make this area a circle. We don't have to keep it as a square. Reference Points Manager. And now I have the ability to go ahead and select and do whatever I want with these. So I'll go ahead and create myself a new tag here. So let's create ourselves a new tag, and we'll call this SAM area. And I'll go ahead and create the new one. So now what I can do is I can actually add all these items to that SAM area. Let's grab this one, and I'm just simply going to add this tag on here. So now it becomes part of my SAM area, which is now separate from what I have for these other ones. Go ahead and grab all these items as well. I'll add them to the SAM area, add. And now if I highlight SAM area, I can see all the different waypoints which are going to be linked to that particular thing. Now we can simply come over here and we can go ahead and define these as different types of zones. In this case, I'll go ahead and create a brand new area. I'll create a new area, create new. We can give this one a unique name. We'll call this one SAM area. We'll go ahead and define this as the color red. It'll validate once we go ahead and add all the waypoints to it, the reference points I should say. We want that one, we'll add this one as well, and we'll add this one as well. And you can see now we have a red highlighted zone for the SAM area, and we have this orange highlighted zone for the Combat Air Patrol area. Keep in mind these zones can be used for other items as well. We can do things for zones, no nav zones, or even exclusion zones. If we simply click on those options now, we can now define those specifically for that purpose. In this case, let's say we wanted to take that SAM area and make it into a no nav zone. I can simply select it, grab all the waypoints that I'm interested in, and then add all the highlighted points on the map directly. So now I've actually defined this area not only as a zone, but as a no navigation zone. We can now come down here, we can actually mark all the different people here. We can say we want to mark them as a hostile, anybody who moves into that zone, if you're working with an exclusion zone, for example. We'll even have the ability to see any sort of item or aircraft or unit that passes through that zone, and then it will notify us down here, so we actually have the ability to do it. Also on this page, you have the ability to import and export and save these zones, should we be able to want to go back to them later. So let's say this no nav zone, we actually want to leave this one alone, and we don't want to use this one for any other purposes. We can simply remove that one, but we don't lose our original zone, which is going to be our SAM area, which is more for references at all. Now, let's say we want to take our cap area and we want to convert it into an exclusion zone. So go ahead and deselect those points. Go ahead and select our little orange points that we have down here. Go down to exclusion zones. Now I can simply go ahead and create myself a new one, and we can add all those points highlighted on the map. Now notice we already have some violators who have violated this particular zone. We simply can't see them on this particular map, so we don't exactly know who exactly they're connected to. But we can actually come in here and say attack all who enter, for example. And we can even go ahead and modify this zone should we need to actually bring it into a different place. So in this case, the exclusion zone simply will flag anybody who enters into this zone as hostile. As you can see, the Reference Points Manager simplifies scenarios when you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reference points and allows you to quickly assign different tags to them as well as define them as different zones.